Hey guys, welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance. Here we are again, April 3rd, and another edition of Coffee and Clash. Hope your week is going well, and we're here to give you a little, midweek entertainment, so to speak. So, hope you enjoy it. Gonna wing this one. Not that we don't wing every other one, but yeah, I usually have something that we go through, but like it says in the description, we let you guys jump in and start talking in the live chat. If you've never been in here, go in the live chat, check it out. Everybody's nice. Nobody's going to run you out of Dodge or anything like that. And all questions are welcome. Don't feel like you're a newbie or someone's going to call you out on your question. Just ask the question and start the conversation. And we'll go from there. I'm going to give it a few minutes. We got a couple people in here. We'll get a few more and then we'll get it rolling and go over a few things. It's kind of a slow week on the 2A front. Just kind of some check-ins on ongoing suits, that type of thing. But nothing, no big decisions, nothing coming down that I've heard, at least. But it's been a busy week for me. Maybe we'll kind of touch on that here at the beginning. So our homestead project. Brought you guys a couple videos early on in the fall when we first started doing things here, putting the road in. And the reason I do it is to kind of show you that, hey, it can be done. That it seems like it's a daunting task, right? Well, how do I take sometimes the daunting task is just finding a piece of property, and that's hard in itself once you start looking. But once you find a piece, it's even more daunting because maybe it's raw land. Maybe you've got to put access in and bring utilities in. And to some people, that's, wow, how do I do that? All I'm going to tell you is if you can research a bunch of it beforehand and at least get a little working knowledge, or maybe work through a realtor to learn some things about the area, that's always good. But I'll just tell you up front, don't worry about it. It'll all fall into place. I worry a lot about little things that my wife says I shouldn't, but little things always seem to creep back up and bite me. But things are going pretty smooth. So with the winter weather here, and it's back with a vengeance, I was off yesterday and made a run to a tractor store to get some parts for my tractor in the hopes that things were going to dry out. And I got about 10 minutes away from here, and the rain turned to a whiteout snowstorm. And up toward Madison, they were expecting over 10 inches. And in our area, they were calling for 4 to 10. Well, we probably got, 3 or 4, somewhere in there. It's heavy, so it kind of mashes down. But I'll tell you what, between all the rain, the melting snow from before, and now this, the water is almost over the main road, not our driveway, but our driveway's got a mini lake in the middle of it. Now it's back. And this time, because everybody's so wet, I had a river flowing from the neighbor's farm field into mine, which I guess is a good thing because now I know at least kind of where it's coming from and where the culvert should go in. And it flows kind of down where I'm thinking about putting one range in, which will be fine. It's I think it'll work out pretty good down there. So I've been putting a lot of thought into where I'm going to put the ranges because right now I just have a temporary range. If you saw the video I put out this week on the new ZPAP underfolder, we did our first shots, and just a little 25-yard, see where things were sighted in, and we're going to go over that. I'm going to talk about it a little more in depth than I did in the video. But where you see me shooting there, that's just temporary. I'm shooting on a part of the driveway, and we've got dirt mounded all over the place from excavation they did for the house, and makes for nice backstops, and just put some paper targets up, that kind of thing. Went to our storage unit and got some of our steel targets and some of the posts, and also I'm going to get those up. And I'm thinking about, starting to at least put them in place in the area that I want this range to be. And my initial thoughts were, yeah, like everybody else, I guess it's kind of what you're used to for a range. If you're one of those guys that shoots at an indoor range all the time, well, that's probably what you like. Me personally, I hate indoor ranges. I can count on two hands how many times I've shot at an indoor range. Taking out maybe some of the range stuff I had to do way back when I was in the police academy. I'm not counting that, but just, over my life and recently, just don't like them. Maybe it's that I don't care to be that close to other people that I don't know shooting, and oftentimes very inexperienced shooters. And many that are just frankly unsafe. It's scary. I've seen some scary things happen at ranges. And it can happen outside too. I've shot at a lot of public outdoor ranges in my life, and I've shot at outdoor ranges at different clubs I've belonged to, and then friends' houses, farms, things like that. But I guess you're always exposed to it, but at least when you know the people you're shooting with, you know their experience level, and you know maybe who to keep an eye on or who to help out a little more, that kind of thing. But I've seen some crazy things go on at public indoor ranges, so it's just not my thing. But my favorite range, obviously, outdoors. Secondly, if you see, God, I bet the majority of my videos, most of them were shot on a multi-purpose range. So the distance there, I could make it just about 100 yards, but it was roughly 75, 80 yard range, but we could shoot at all different distances from, point blank, 5, 10 yards. We could set up courses. We could shoot out to 80, 50, whatever we wanted. We could bench rest. We could run and gun. We could do whatever we wanted. And I love a multi-purpose range like that, where you've got some decent footing, fairly level, so you're not tripping, falling. You can set up targets and they're not all wonky, preferably in an area protected from the wind a little bit, not just for comfort, but to keep targets from blowing over, that type of thing. And now that I've got room, I'd like to set up a semi-permanent range with, everything from steel to maybe build some framed walls with snow fence like they use for 3-gun, that type of thing that we can move around, some barrels, different shooting platforms, blockades, and of course some shooting benches in that 50 to 75 yard range. And that's a for sure. So I've got a good idea on where I'm going to put that. And of course, my second favorite range is a 100-yard range. 100 yard is just very useful, right? I mean, it's the go-to. If you're not indoors on a 25, you're usually outdoors at 100, right? And it's good range to sight things in, and 25, 50, 100. A little bit challenging for the newer shooters, and it's always fun to go longer. Well, more and more, and I guess for as long as I can remember, it's hard to find a range that's over 100 yards, really. I shoot all the time. I'm in the know, and I can count 2-3 ranges that I know of that are a reasonable distance. Some are as much as 4 hours away, but where I could shoot over 100 yards. One was a private club I belonged to where we had a beautiful 200-yard range. I have some videos shooting there. And they have a berm at the far end that's high enough that we can keep scorers behind it. There's benches down there for them to sit on, and then they raise the targets, like sort of like a Camp Perry setup, you know, where they can pull the targets down, score them, put them back up, that type of thing. And when you go down there, you can walk behind the berm while live fire is going on. You're protected the entire time. And that's nice. You don't have to wait to change targets, things like that. And it's 200. Once in a while, they'd even make it part of our 3-gun courses that we ran. And that's challenging when, you know, most 3-gun courses are set up in, you know, 10 yards, 20 yards, 25 yards, maybe get a longer one here and there. But all of a sudden you throw in a few shots on one section where you got to put a couple downrange at 200, and a lot of people, it throws them for a loop, you know. So 200's nice, 300's better. I know of one range that has 300 I've shot at, and anything more than that, I mean, you got to go to a major national shooting center, something like that, or private property. And even private property, how many people have the ability to shoot safely at those type of yardages, 500, 700, 1,000 yards or more? That's a long, long way. 300's a long way. Well, when you get into ag land, you know, sometimes it's so flat that there's no natural backstop. To build a backstop, well, you better have some experienced shooters, I guess, because you know, a new shooter could be a little off and right over the berm or the side of it or whatever at these long yardages, right? So I'm talking to a new neighbor of mine, and his family owns the property that adjoins mine. And I met him deer hunting. Had a deer go on his property, and he recovered it for me. Yeah, super nice guy. We've since been to a whitetail expo, hunting expo. God, they had everything. We'll get into that too. I'll tell you about it. But we were talking about shooting and where he sights in. He says, you know, between me and you, we could easily do 1,000 and maybe more. So as it warms up here, we're going to put our heads together and set something up where we can routinely go 500 will be nothing, but out to 1,000. And I'm not saying I can hit anything at that because, like most, I've never had the opportunity to shoot that far. The first thing that comes to mind is, boy, I need some good glass, you know, and good glass costs a lot of money. But, you know, there's when it comes to optics, that's another thing. You know, in our space, the Kalashnikovs space, the AR space, the typical sporting rifle space, what are the go-to optics? Well, on a carbine, it might be a red dot or a holographic sight, or maybe, you know, a 3-power, or maybe a holographic EOTech with a magnifier or something. And that's all good to get out in that 250 range. You know, talk to a lot of guys that, well, I'm good with a red dot out to 250. Well, it might just be age, but I don't know about the rest of you. But, you know, out past 150, man, it's hard. I mean, I see a target, but I don't see a bullseye. I mean, if I take a 1 foot, and I'm not talking bigger targets, I'm talking like 100-yard, 12-inch target. At 200, that looks like a bullseye to me. You know, that's all I can see. Or let's say you're shooting irons, and you've got your typical com block front sight. Well, that post is sometimes wider than what you're seeing downrange. So I guess maybe some guys can see that. I can't. And at 300, oh man. So you think, well, I'll put an LPVO on there, 1x6. Yeah, I'm good at that. 6 power, no problem. Well, you crank it up to 6 and you're like, yeah, that's better, but it's still not fabulous for super precision work, where at 100, let's say with whatever scope I'm running, maybe anywhere from, let's say, a 9 power to 16 power. Yeah, I can, do a sub MOA group because I can see that small of an area. But to get out to these distances, and a lot of these guys, we had 1,000 at 10 powers plenty, or 16 powers plenty. Wow. And I guess it is, when you think about it, 10 power, 1,000 yards should look just like I'm looking at 100. I can hit a 12 by 12 target or 8 by 8 target at 100 yards. But it becomes challenging, and it becomes challenging to group. And then at these longer distances, you're bringing in wind and all kinds of other stuff, right? So it's going to be a ton of fun. Drew in Oregon says, what scope or prism scope do you recommend for AK? So I run a ton of different stuff. I've tried out everything, so to speak. I don't have many high-end optics. I guess it boils down to when you've got a lot of platforms, you got a lot of optics to buy. And, you might not have, 1,500, $2,000, 2,500, $3,000 to put some really nice glass on everything. And I guess, I got one buddy where, yep, he's got a Night Force and he's got a Leopold Mark V and some other stuff, and he'll switch them between rifles and that kind of thing. Well, once you get a gun sighted in and everything, do you really want to mess with it, And of course, we try to match whatever optic we're using to that particular platform, whether it's an AK or an AR. Let's say we built an AR 14.5 welded and pinned muzzle brake carbine, right? Do I really want to put a higher power expensive optic on that for distance? No, that's not what I built the rifle for. I either want to put probably a red dot on it, or EOTechs are fabulous. I kind of justify EOTechs in that they're not crazy money. They're not, ACOG type of money. They're not, when it comes to LPVOs, you can get up there too. But when it comes to EOTech, for a few $100, you've got a lifetime platform there. And if you want to magnify, you can throw a magnifier behind it. But if I'm going to go that type of weight on anything but a carbine, because I can always pop the magnifier off, save the weight and the rail space and all that. And same goes for an AK, right? You can run an EOTech on that just as easily, but anything other than a real short carbine, I think there's other red dots and holographic sights that I like better, or cheaper, and fit the bill better. Because if I'm going to run a magnifier and a holographic sight or red dot, why not go to an LPVO, other than the fact that you may be dealing with some eye relief problems? Maybe depending on how you're mounting it, especially on an AK. Let's say you've got a rail that mounts in where the sight leaf goes or something. You're gonna be hard pressed to run any type of tubular scope that's got maybe a 3-inch eye relief on it. So okay, maybe in that case you stay with a red dot, something like that. But you can always go to an RS Regulate and get plenty of rail space to run a scope or whatever. So on AKs, it's a hair different, or maybe you're running whatchamacallit, the brand name of the gas tube that's railed, and you want to put something out front there. Well, again, you're going to be hard pressed to deal with anything that needs, shorter eye relief. So you're kind of relegated to either prism or red dot or what have you. But anything else, there's pretty much solutions for. And, obviously, there's other side rail mounts for AKs. I've said this in other videos. I like the Arsenal SM13. There's some good stuff out there. Midwest Industries makes some decent stuff. So you can mount just about anything on the AK platform today. But what do I like on it? Well, early on, I fell in love with a lot of the primary arm stuff because I love the ACSS reticle. I love that chevron. I like being able to range a target with it. I like being able to hit a moving target at distance using the tools on that reticle. There's so much cool stuff you can do with that reticle. And, they put on everything nowadays. You can get it on one of their LPVOs from either the Silver Series, Gold Series, Platinum Series. You can even get it on a non-magnified, essentially a red dot. And of course, there are 3-power and 5-power holographic sights, which I have a couple of, and I run one on my go-to Zastava NPAP. That thing's been on there for, at least 6 or 7 years. I'd have to go back and look at the video when I put that thing together, and I love it. The only thing I ever have to do to it is put a battery in it now and then. But it's great, and I have, I have one on that. What's the other one on? God, I'm trying to think what the other one's on. Actually, I think that's a 3-power on the NPAP, and I bought a 5-power that was gonna go on. The heck was I gonna put it on? I think I was gonna put it on my NPAP, actually. Oh wait, no, that one might have a different reticle. I don't know. I gotta look at it. Either way, those are great. Great pieces of machinery for not a lot of money. If you're looking for red dots, primary arms, Holosun, even the Romeos, you can spend $199 or between there and $250 and get one with the mini solar panel and the push buttons instead of the dials, which I like better. Just a super rugged, nice setup. I've never broken one, never had one go out on me. Of any of those 3 brands, no, I only have one SIG Romeo, which I don't even know how I came across it or grabbed it because it was cheap or something. But originally, I stuck to primary arms like crazy. And then I found the Holosun 310C, and I started putting that on everything from Scorpion pistols to my VR80 shotgun. It has one. I've got it on a couple ARs. I've got it on AKs. I've got it on, what else? I don't know. You name it. Shotguns, rifles, little subgun pistols. I use it on everything. I think I have 7 or 8 of them at last count. And I just think they're fabulous. Huge view, adjustable reticle, or red dot, I should say. And if anything, if they have one drawback, is that the body of it is a little large. You know, a lot of guys are going towards smaller reflex sights on stuff, you know, even shotguns, MP5s, let's say, and they think that's a little bulky. But if you go and look at some of my videos on my Scorpions, you'll see one on both of my Scorpions. And God, they're just so fast. They're extremely fast. You shoot 2 eyes, obviously, and they're just quicker than anything. And they're still relatively compact. So I'd rather almost have one of those than a red dot, unless I'm looking to go a little smaller. But I'm not a big fan of the small reflex sights or even pistol red dots. And maybe that's because I was soured to them a little bit on my SIG 365 XL. I bought the SIG version that they came out with. And the body of it was plastic. And when you went to torque down the screws, you know, it started crunching the plastic, and they're crap. And I ended up getting rid of it. I have a very hard time shooting a pistol with a red dot. At my age, it's just the muscle memory is so ingrained that to bring up a pistol quickly and have it be right there on the red dot is almost impossible, even after lots of practice. Can I do it? Yeah. Am I fast with it? No. And to an outsider looking in, maybe it seems fast. It's like when you're searching for words, you're talking to somebody, or maybe a public speaking thing, and you're searching for a word, and it seems like forever for you to come up with a word, but in reality, it was only less than a second, maybe. I think maybe that's how it is. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on it and see how fast or slow it truly is. Maybe I'm worried about nothing, but I do know I'm a lot faster with irons than I am a red dot on a pistol. So yeah, and you know, on a pistol, you know, if I'm my EDC, my carry gun, there's no second chances on that. If it's coming out, you need it, and you need it now, and it better be pretty quick, right? Or maybe you need to be quick. And I can't be, I'm not comfortable with it. So, and to me, on pistols, you know, rifle is useful and can be in very dire or situations where it's needed now, right? But, or at least me, I'm used to shooting guns with optics, so it's right there. The muscle memory is there already. On the pistols, I want it to work now, every time, be there. Don't have to worry about batteries and this and that. And yeah, if I'm down to the pistol, we got problems and we got to solve them right now, right? I guess it goes back to the old saying that pistols are only useful for fighting your way to your rifle. It's kind of, I heard that years ago, and I kind of wholeheartedly 1000% agree with that. I don't think anybody wants to bring a pistol to a gunfight. I don't know. Anyhow, what do you guys think? I want to read, see what you guys are commenting here, and let's see who's here tonight. Don't want to leave anybody out here. What's going on here? Why can't I? All right, there we go. So we got Drew in Oregon, jumped in early. Ross is here. How you doing, Ross? Good to see you, man. Ross with the Michigan crew, the Michigan Mafia, right? Joe Morgan, what's up, Joe? Hope you're having a good week, man. Hope things are going well. Hope things are getting a little better. Who else? Mark M. Good to see and hear you tonight. You too, man. Who else? Adaro, Bravo XL mount, and a whole sun with an ACSS reticle. Good to go. Yeah, Adaro's the guys that make the mounts for the in place of the sight leaf, right? And some other stuff too. But I haven't messed with them at all. They kind of hit the market when I was taking a break from the channel due to family stuff. And we got to get into that and see what we can do. I haven't seen them in any local stores or anything, so it'd be nice to take a look and see what they're like. From everything I understand, it's quality stuff. And I always like the fact that you can modify a gun, whether it be a pistol, a rifle, shotgun, without permanently modifying it. You know, you can pop a sight leaf out, pop that in. You want to put it back to how it was, no problem. Doesn't leave a mark, doesn't change anything. Let's face it, some of this stuff, who would have thunk it? But some of this stuff is worth ridiculous money now, where I wouldn't have thought twice about ripping into a Vepr before, 7, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Now, holy Christ, you don't even want to put rounds through a Vepr these days. I do, but yeah, it's crazy, nuts. And here I thought only Russian and some Chinese guns were going to be worth money. That's a joke, huh? But the mitten mafia, yeah. In more than one way, not just because it's cold, but the shape of the state of Michigan is like a mitten, right? Unless your background is a Youper like me. My mom was born and raised in the UP. It's a whole nother world. It's another nation up there, Only two things go on in the UP, and that's you either have a deer camp up there, or maybe you do some snowmobiling up there, or you got a crazy second uncle that lives down a back blacktop road that turns to gravel, that turns to 2-track, that turns to mud, right? And he lives at the end of it. Let's see. Glautro. Is it Glautro? Speaking of optics, struggling to get my sight leaf reinstalled. Saw your video and still fighting it. You're talking about the video on how to pop one out. It's real easy to pop them out. You ever seen the sock trick? Yeah, that's an easy one. Getting them in isn't too bad either. Tell you the truth, that was a while back. I forget what I showed you guys. I think, are you talking about the one on the SKS maybe? Same style sight leaf as the AK, SKS, same stuff. Even Mosin Nagant, same thing. They stuck with it forever. But yeah, there's a couple different that video. It started leaf. The rear sight leaf was a little canted. It wasn't the sight block. It was, I can't remember if it was the little key-shaped holes in the side of the sight block that the nubs from the sight leaf rest in, or if the sight leaf or the sight leaf pins on each side were either one was maybe slightly bent or a hair thicker or higher than the other, and it was causing the sight leaf to do this a little. So when you actually stood that sight leaf up, it was like off to one side a little bit, and it was bugging the shit out of me. And at the time, I think I had a red dot mounted, like a scout mount on it, because I had a front handguard on that Yugo SKS that had a pick rail over the handguard, so it was like a scout mount. It was, at the time, it seemed cool. I did a video on unbubbifying my Yugo SKS, because we went with a who makes that system now? Tapco. Tapco made it. I had a Tapco, with the saw grip and their composite stock, and it added an AR style stock to it and all. And man, I thought it was cooler than hell. It was before I got my first AK, and basically trying to make it look like an AK, right? Except it was about this long. With the grenade launcher spigot on it, and the blade bayonet and everything. Jesus, even in that stock, it was longer, I think, than it was in the stock. And then one day I realized, wow, that is really a pretty gun in the regular stock, and I took it all apart. And I think about the hassles I went through to get that thing to run. I talked about it once before, where the after the Tapco gas tube was just a hair bigger than the factory one, and it didn't develop it didn't seal well enough with the piston, and it was essentially a bolt action gun. It would fire one round and not chamber the next. And we messed with O-rings and all kinds of stuff. Finally got it. I got a different piston, and it ran great. And they had, I think they were 20 round Tapco mags. I still have them. I came across it in storage the other day. Got it, and I still have the stock. I was going to sell the whole setup. Maybe I will, because I'll never put it back on. But if you're ever looking to, I don't know, maybe outfit someone in the family or a kid or something like that, those Tapco 20 round mags that you put the front in and rock them up in, they work great. They run well, unlike some of the Chinese steel ones that you come across once in a while. Those run pretty darn good. It's not a bad system. It's just kind of a goofy system. Why go through all that trouble when you can just grab an AK? Yep, it's easy to get it out. Getting it back in is the struggle. I usually, I just get it in there, line it up, and I'll usually just push down hard enough and boom. But I think I show it in the video, don't I? I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. If not, that's a quick video I can do for you guys and throw it out there. Let's see what else we got in here. So we talked about what scope or prism scope do I recommend for an AK. So for an AK, I've got a primary arms 1x6 on one of my go-to guns, my Krebs rifle. Originally I had one of the old school EOTechs on there, the long ones, because you saw a lot of Spetsnaz guys running those old style EOTechs back in the day when the alpha stuff was real popular. So I thought, how cool, we'll throw one of those on there, along with all the other Zenitco stuff, the 40 pounds of Zenitco crap on there. That's another thing. If you get into AKs, you'll go through your Zenitco phase. And hopefully it doesn't last long and you don't spend your third child's college fund on it, because I understand it's just gotten ridiculous. But it was ridiculous when I bought it. I can imagine what it is now. But and there's a lot of fakes running around out there, guys, so be careful. But I love that 1x6 primary arms. It's just a silver, the primary arms has silver, gold, platinum. Everything I have is silver other than one platinum, gold. What is it? 2x10, 2x12. It's a little different, but I've got that on my DMR. And I love that scope, other than the fact that it's a mil scope instead of MOA. And when everything else you have is MOA, mil sucks. You go, oh yeah, that's why my 4 clicks just took me off paper. Yeah, don't make that mistake. If you're going to start with one thing, stay with one thing. You're going to start with mils, stay with mils. You're going to start with MOA, stay with MOA. It'll screw you up every time. But I love that 1x6 on there. Little heavy. I would love to have a Raptor. I have a Strike Eagle that, what gun was that on? I think about that. I might have the Strike Eagle on there, actually. For the money, those are hard to beat. Vortex, it's kind of the working man's kind of optics. And yes, they're made right here in Wisconsin. Well, I misspoke. So a lot of people think, ooh, Vortex, Wisconsin, made in the USA, all that good stuff. And it's accepted now, but 7 years ago, Primary Arms was like, Chinese junk, this and that. Same with Holosun. They developed a reputation of just working and not breaking, and decent glass for the money. So the big differences in Primary Arms, silver, gold, platinum, is where the glass is made for the most part. The silver lineup, it's decent glass. At higher powers, you may get a little couple weird things going on, but the gold, I believe they make most of the glass for their gold scopes in Taiwan. And Taiwan makes some pretty darn good glass, and their platinum gets out. Their platinum stuff will run with anybody's. It really will. I've looked through and been shocked. But my drawback there was, if I'm going to get up into that kind of dollar range, well, there's other choices, and maybe that's me being, I won't say snobby, because I'm not snobby. I'll run a Holosun. I don't give a shit. But I do like nicer things. But so I guess if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'd probably want to go into something else. But Vortex, you think, well, that's American, right? Good old Wisconsin company, and great company. I mean, you break something goes wrong, you send it, man, this wind here, holy moly. You send it back and they will replace it, period. No questions asked, done. It doesn't work or it's broken, you don't have to worry at all. And how can you go wrong with that? Well, a lot of their stuff is made in China too. China's, for those that don't know, an interesting manufacturing hub. China will build anything you want. If you spec this, they'll build that. If you spec this, they'll build that as well. Will it be good as if you spec'd it in this country at that same level? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know, but they've gotten much, much better. And if it's got a lifetime warranty, who cares really, I guess. Yeah, there's the trouble with, I got to go through all this grief and aggravation, that kind of thing. I bought a bottom of the line Vortex scope. It was a 2x4, 2x5, I don't know. And what do they call it? Their entry level scope. I can't even remember. Fire something. I don't know. Not Strike Fire. Maybe it was Strike Fire. I don't know. Anyways, cheapest thing they make, pretty much. And out of the box, the little tab that's soldered in there for the battery contact was broken off. I just haven't had the time to send it back. One of these days I will, I guess, but it's on a 308 AR and still works great. I just don't have a lighted reticle. Actually, if I stack it all together and screw it on, it works. But just one of those things. But yeah, AK 1x6. I love the 310C Holosun on there. I love, one of my favorite rifles is an Arsenal 107 FR with a super, super, super light RS Regulate and a Primary Arms Gen 2, Gen 3 red dot. One of my lightest, greatest, coolest AKs. Love it. There's a lot of good stuff. That's it's kind of the where I go. The mid-level LPVO, red dot, holographic. I love the 3-power primary arms holographic sight on my Zastava NPEP. Love it. Absolutely love it. Great all around. It's almost where you can use it up close, CQB. You know, would I want to go into a house with it? Maybe not. But closer stuff, 25 yards, even 15 yards, you can still get away with shooting at 2 eyes, although a little weird. But then it gives you just enough to reach out and either A, identify a target, or B, make a solid hit on it, where a red dot, you may question your shot. So I like it for that. It's still light enough to where it'll mount in an ACOG mount. Yeah, it's great. Can't beat it. And you can get the ACSS reticle in it, which is, that's, you know, his genius in developing that ACSS reticle is what put Primary Arms on the map. Forget about the rest of the stuff. That, figuring out that reticle and a lot of his other reticles too, is really what put them on the map. It's not that the quality's not there, it is, but that really made the difference. It made people go, wow, check this out. And yeah, that's what's done. So that's what I like to run on them. Trying to think if I've run anything else really. Not really. That's about it. Let's see. Yeah, and again, I'll go back and look at that Sight Leaf video, and maybe I'll do a quickie. We'll pop one out and see how long it takes me to get it back in. You know what it is with those? Sometimes you can pop one out, do what you got to do, and you go to put it back in, and bloop, and it goes right in. Like nobody, you're like, wow, you shock yourself, right? You're like, oh, shit. And other times, you could screw it up for half an hour, right? And then you set it down for a minute because you're about to throw it through the wall. Then you come back and it pops right back in. So I'll have to go back and look at that. Okay, AK pistols and crinks seem to be popular, you think? Right now, your thoughts on them? I'm quite partial to the ZPAP M92. Okay, good. Let's talk about this. I actually thought about this the other day because it seems that, Zastava and the ZPAP are garnering the position of the #1 selling AK platform in the country. I think 3 years running now. And for good reason, right? It's a great, solid rifle built in a factory, supplying militaries all around the world. And it's hard to beat. It's still reasonably priced, considering what's going on. And I like them. I've had them probably longer than some of you guys are maybe old. I don't know. But and like I always tell you guys, Zastava rifle was my first AK, although it was built, I should say, a Zastava parts kit assembled by Century Arms, which I still love and have. I'm staring at right now, and it's sitting right next to my ZPAP underfolder. And to tell you the truth, I've got the original surplus or military beach handguard and gas tube cover on it versus the battleground pickup style walnut that's on the new underfolder. And color wise, even though it's beech on the factory one, it's hard to tell the difference. And our surplus wood is just finished with boiled linseed oil, and that's it. And that's key to that surplus wood, because the surplus beech always comes to you, unless you're buying, stuff that's been on a gun before. But if you're buying true surplus, the stuff Zastava puts on all their military guns, and probably put on the ones coming over here, and then they take it off and put the U.S. made stuff for 922R. But when you see it, it's just dry beech, right? It looks really dry, and you're like, what kind of wood is this? If you don't know much about them and it's your first gun, you're like, what is this? Dry. It looks like balsa wood. Doesn't feel like it. Maybe kind of, sort of, but it's always so dry. Well, it was always finished with linseed oil, or just any oil rubbed into it. And when you do that, it can do a multitude of things. You never know what it's going to do, depending on the grain and whatever tree it was cut from, I guess. But I've had some almost do, because it's quarter sawn, and you'll get beech develops these little tight, like, not knots, but grain flecks through it that can give a neat appearance. Other times it stains dark, not stains, but oils up darker. Other times it stays lighter. You never know what it's going to do. But for the most part, it'll darken up pretty well. And again, it's how much oil you want to rub into it. I put enough in to make it not feel dry and to seal it, because when linseed oil seals up and hardens, it's a great finish. And you can put as many coats as you want. Just be careful and make sure you let them dry in between coats. And I don't mean an hour or two. I mean a minimum of 24 hours between coats. So you put a coat on one night, you let it dry, and the next night you put a second one on. And that first one you can put on heavier. It'll absorb it. But as you go, you better go lighter and lighter, because the worst thing you can do is not wait long enough between coats. Sometimes it needs more than 24 hours. But if you don't wait long enough, it's not going to dry out completely. It's going to remain or get sticky and gooey. And you keep putting coats on, and it could be like that for a year or more. I'm not kidding. It's partially why the U.S. military switched away from it on the Grands later in the war and went to tung oil, because they were cranking them out so fast that they didn't have, by the time they got to GIs, and maybe they were in the Pacific where it was warm and the stuff started gooping up. At least that's what I hear. But it is true. So give it time to dry. Don't rush it. Put one good coat on. Let it sit 15 minutes. Wipe off the excess, any puddling, any drips, any extra, and then let it sit 24 hours minimum. If you come back and it's dry, not tacky dry, then do a second coat, lighter that time, much lighter. Just enough really to wet it, unless it's still looking pretty dry and it soaked it all in. And then each successive coat, go lighter and lighter, and just make sure it's drying. And I typically get away with anywhere from, I think at the low end, probably 3 coats, but 5 is a good number, and I've gone as many as 12, because you can make it deeper and deeper, and the more coats you put on and the more you hand rub it and polish it, you can get a super high sheen, shiny finish if you want that. But typically 5, 6 is good. And you get, hey, John, how are you, man? Good to see you in here, guys. The famous John Crump is in here from John Crump News. Make sure you go check out his channel. He's awesome. And, we all love Wolverines, right? God, I love that movie. I still love it. Whenever it comes on, I'm like, I want to watch it again. Yeah, I got to watch it. Even if it's the new one, but not, I prefer it to be the Patrick Swayze one. That's just such a great thing. Maybe I'd put something in ours as you go to, he does the Wolverine thing, and I'm going to do the Avenge Me. You remember that? That was so corny. That was hilarious. Great movie, though. Next time I go to a big shoot, if I ever get down to the Iraq veteran shoot, I'm going to phony up one of those Geiger counters. Go up to somebody, you know, and they went into town and planted the tracking device. I'll have the Geiger counter. I'll have to go up to 2 AEDU and it's ticking, you know. That'd be pretty funny. Let's see who else is in here before I keep yapping. What's going on the fighting front there, John? Any good news? I haven't seen much going on. You know, some news on some ongoing cases, but God, we need a good one, don't we? Some really good news. Put one of these things to rest. Wouldn't that be nice? Just a good win. What do you got for us? Anything good? Let's see what everybody's saying in here. Chase Kelly's here. Good to see you, man. Glad you're here. God, how did I get on wood? I started talking about AK pistols and crinks. So I love AK pistols and crinks. My favorite of all, period, bar none, is my Sam 5 pistol. And I got the good one. And by the good one, I mean they sold one where had a booster on the end. It wasn't a screw-on booster. It was bored out and slid over the longer barrel and was either pinned or something on there. So to make it correct, where get rid of that, have the barrel cut down, threaded, and then run like a 4-piece Bulgarian muzzle device, cost you a bunch of money. Plus the back end wasn't, it was just flat. So you had no way of mounting anything. So you had, I don't know, 500, 600, $700 in gunsmithing fees before you could even do anything or make it correct. And then Arsenal came out. I remember when the first batch came out, and nobody was paying attention to them for a while, you know. And they came out with the correct barrel length and just a muzzle nut, and all set up to put a 4-piece on there, you know. And they had a pick rail on the back that was mounted. There was a hole drilled through the back of the receiver, and that mount was just mounted on there with a nut on the inside. So you could take that off and either bolt your, if you're going to SBR it, your stock direct, or you could bolt your brace on there. And what I thought was the hot setup at the time was to get a CNC Warrior brace, which I did, and put that on there. And back then, you could, and this isn't all that long ago, maybe 3 years ago, I don't know, you could find Bulgarian 4-piece muzzle devices all around for the most you'd pay is $100. And I'd order them 3-4 at a time. And I got a bunch put away, thank God. Because holy cow, now that's what a repop costs. And the real ones, I saw Arsenal was auctioning them off on Gunbroker. So I guess that tells you what those are worth. And then, you know, throw a 40-round waffle mag in there, a Bulgarian waffle mag, or I got a couple, I like to put a couple 40-round Bakelites in there. They look good. And a single point QD sling, a Krebs safety, and an ALG trigger, and Yahoo! Wolverines, bitch. It's, yeah, that's a cool gun. That is by far my favorite. It's flawless. It runs fantastically. I was in a local gun shop in Wisconsin in the Waukesha area, 2 years ago. And it was one of those days when I was walking in the gun shop, full well knowing that I'm buying something, just in a mood to buy something different, something I don't have, something that piques my interest, whether it's new, milsurp, AK, whatever. I had X amount of money in my pocket, burning a hole in it, and I'm going to buy something that day. And I walked in, and it was one of those days where, and this isn't like a flex or anything. Please don't take it like that. It's just when your collection's advanced and you look around, you go, okay, I got that. I got something that's sort of like that. And I did a video on something like that. I don't want to buy that piece of junk. What do? Or there's a lot of stuff there, but it's up here. I don't want to spend that money, or I don't have that money today, right? And I'm like, well, okay, another AK. Here we go. Let me see that. That's a Stava M92. And he had one, brought it out, and he's just waiting for me to say, yeah, write it up. And I'm looking it over. And this was near just after COVID a little bit. Wisconsin was much more open than other states. Nobody wore masks up here. Nobody did nothing. It was totally different than Illinois. Just, I don't know if it was the government didn't push it as much, whatever. But the businesses were open while states like Illinois were still shut down. They opened earlier, I guess, is what it was. And I don't know if it had anything to do with that whole ordeal. I would assume that these pistols being here in this country at that time, they were probably imported well before that. So I can't blame the workmanship on that. And those guns, I believe, like every other pistol, don't have to conform to 922R. So they come in as is, right? Nothing's got to be converted. Nothing's got to be changed out. Factory fire control groups, factory mags, factory furniture, all of that. Nothing's got to be done. So I'm assuming it's like that on this. And I'm messing with it. They know me there, so I pop the top cover and I'm looking around and messing with things and sighting down it, because AKs, it's just, you don't have to worry about it so much anymore. For those of you that are only been in it a few years, things are much better now. But back in the day, boy, you better buying an AK over Gunbroker was a challenge, because you knew that's where they were getting rid of the ones that were like this. The sight was over here, and so I'm looking down it, and it's a little off, and then the top cover sit a little wonky, and when you pop it, it just seemed cheap. I mean, rough edges, and just, I was like, you got another one, man? Let me see another one. He brought another one out. It was the same thing. So much so that I went, you know what? I'm going to pass today. And I don't know if I bought something else or didn't buy anything. But, I was right there ready to buy. And I just went, And that's no shot on Zastava. I may have been over zealous in my looking at it and this, I don't know, my decision making, whatever. Or maybe I was coming off that Arsenal pistol, which, milled receiver, all that kind of stuff. Maybe, and it better be for the money that those things are, better be nicer. It just, I don't know. It just didn't grab me that day. Maybe it was just a couple ones that, whatever. But I love Zastava, and I wanted to buy that pistol that day, and I just didn't. So haven't really had the opportunity recently to, walk in and there's one sitting there and, let me see that. But next time I do, I'm definitely going to take a closer look at it and see, how it fares. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was in a mood that day, whatever, and my observation was off. I don't know. But definitely love them. Yeah, I definitely do the CNC brace by far. The only problem with CNC is, boy, if they're out of stock or something, you can't get a hold of them. First of all, they don't pick up their phone. Maybe it's changed, but they've been so busy, at least a couple of years ago, so busy that, and he said in a statement, I think on the website or something, that, hey, guys, if you're calling, leave a message. I'll get back to you, but I'm so busy. If you guys want product, just leave me alone. Let me work, kind of thing. And I've never gotten anything from them that was nothing short of fabulous. Yeah, that's a good way to go get a 4-piece if you want. They make a nice one. It's got the funnel in it is chrome, just like the original Bulgarians are, and all that. So it's nice. No, going to use my name. FM Vepper versus ZPAP. Vepper all the way, man. I love my Veppers. Absolutely love them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that they're just Russian or what have you. Oh, Jesus. I'm having a hard time here, guys. I don't need to smoke anyways. If you own a Vepper or you've shot one before, it's, in my mind, just feels totally different than any other AK on the market, period. I like stamp guns better than milled guns. I've always said that. They're just more quintessentially AK to me. I don't know. That Vepper with the heavy trunnions, the heavy short barrel, everything about it. Smoothest guns out of the factory, period. Always straight, always just glass. And I truly think it is because it's Russian. That they're the originators, their tooling, their whatever. You can feel it. And for those of you that say, oh, wait, well, ZPAP's got the same weight, basically. I don't know. Just it's a hell of a gun, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I just wish that somebody would make a little piece that you could mount a cleaning rod under it to give it the look. Because not having a cleaning rod, in my book, makes it look weird. But by far, one of my favorite AKs. And as much as I love Zastava, I love those. But look at the price now. You know, back when I was buying them, they were $800, $1,000. I think $1,200 was the highest I ever paid for maybe a side folder, but I think they were even less than that then. Rob Ski will tell you his favorite AK, period, by far, is a Vepper fixed stock in 545. If he had to grab one AK, that's what it would be, a Vepper in 545. I agree. It's just not necessarily 545. I mean, either gun, great, but Vepper, yeah, awesome. But ZPAP for the money, yeah, by far, for the money. I mean, you're going to pay what, $4 or $5 grand for a Vepper now? Crazy, isn't it? Nuts. I was thinking the other day I need a tractor. Maybe I go sell 2 Veppers and get a tractor. No, I couldn't do it. I just can't part with them. Chinese milled versus Arsenal milled. I'll go not a milled freak. I'll go Arsenal. I never saw, everybody, the greatest AK ever made. Yeah, probably back then it was because you couldn't get them anymore. Because even back in the day before the import ban happened, they were junk. Nobody wanted one. Milled, stamped, no, it didn't matter. Nobody wanted one. Then suddenly, the finest, most well-built AK ever made on the planet. The Polytech Legend. Okay, nice gun. Nice gun, but milled guns partially, I don't care for them because of the comb height on the stock. All the stocks ramp down more than a fixed stock or a stamp gun. Harder to find aftermarket stocks to work with the tabs on it without having to hack one off, which I don't ever want to do. I'll tell you, I've never owned a Legend, but then again, I have one Chinese gun, and I just, don't get me wrong, they're nice guns. Even in the stamp guns, there's something to be said for the 1mm receiver versus the thinner on most AKMs and most everything else out there other than Bolt Trunnion stuff. Their bluing is pretty when it's new and handled with kit gloves, but it's the thinnest bluing you'll ever see in your life. And I think in some cases you might be able to rub it off with a good sweaty thumbprint. I don't know. The only Chinese gun I have is my Bakelite side folder, and purely luck there. My father bought one AK in his life, and it just happened to be that one, and he hated it. And I traded him for a Yugo, actually. And that's a cool gun, simply because I love Bakelite. But other than that, I guess I wouldn't mind having a fixed stock, all Bakelite, rifle Bakelite stock, grip and handguard to match it. That'd be kind of cool. And I wouldn't mind having an under folder with the Bakelite, or a double folder. Be kind of neat for the collection. But yeah, if I stumbled into one somewhere and it was cheap enough, but not going to pay crazy money for it. They're good guns. I'm not knocking them. Just not my thing. That's all. Best muzzle brake for what? For an AK? That's very, very simple. If you don't want to spend any money, don't have any extra money to spend, it's real simple. And if your gun came with a muzzle nut, go find yourself a $2 slant brake, original slant brake, and toss it on there. But I guess I classify that more as a muzzle device rather than a brake. But yeah, to keep muzzle rise and keep the gun flat, slant brake's hard to beat, man. But best muzzle brake for the dinero would be the Meridian Defense BD2. Yep, that would be it. They make it in a 2-port and a 3-port. I've shot both. Frankly, I don't see a big enough difference in the 3-port to go to the extra length and cost. Not that it's a lot. I don't know what they go for lately, but I bet they're not much over. Well, they forever and ever they were like $58, $59, something like that, and they work great. Finished well, hold up well, do their job well. They don't drive the person next to you nuts. Just a great break for the money. Dollars versus donuts, it's just a great muzzle brake. Watch any of my NPAP videos, or let's see, what do I have on that one? I have a night brake on one Vepr, and I have a Meridian Defense on the other. And I like the Meridian Defense way better. The night brake, never cared for it. I bought it to do a little experimenting with, and I never cared for it. That Meridian Defense stood out over everything else by head and shoulders. So yeah, that's my favorite. Now, if you want to talk cool factor, and I guess you don't really consider it a muzzle brake, but there's nothing cooler than a 4-piece flash hider on a pistol, I don't see it much lately, but for quite a while you're seeing all guys running 4-piece muzzle brakes on 16-inch rifles and stuff. I get it because the cool look factor, right? But that was developed as a booster and a flash hider, not necessarily. You don't want to add to the overgassing of what your rifle already has, right? So why run one on a longer rifle? You want to put on a pistol? Fine. Even maybe a Draco or something like that. Now there's a gun. I've got a mini Draco. The micro Draco is just too small. That's an absolute joke. No point. Just a gangster gun. Stupid, actually. At least on the micro, you can get some kind of handguard system. I have a Manicore Arms Alpha Rail on mine. I don't even know if they make those anymore. But what a cool setup. If they're not making them, they should come back. What's his name? Sven should come back out with them. But with an M-lock system instead of the Alpha, not Alpha, what do you call it? Keymod that's on there. Nothing wrong with Keymod. Actually, in a lot of ways, it might be a little more I don't know. Just looking at them and comparing the two, I always thought Keymod at the end of the day would hold better than an M-lock, but for whatever reason, M-lock won out. Well, we know why, but not wrong with it. And he made it only in Keymod. And frankly, I don't know if it's long enough to make it with M-lock, because you could only put, I think you might only be able to get like one opening of that on there. So I don't know, but it's a cool rail. It's a great system, and it fits on that, on the mini, not on the micro. And but a Draco, what easier gun to make a really cool SBR out of so easily, right? Gotta look into that. So the cool thing is now I hear that sending in your tax stamp for suppressors is can be as little as under a week right now. And I thought, I can have suppressors here, and we're going to do something here real quick. I'm really looking forward to that. I've been kind of going through in my head and researching some stuff. Either going to do something to run on all the AKs, but I think we'll do a 9 first. There is a multi-use can out there. It's mostly made for 9 subguns, but does a pretty darn good job on 7.62, 300 blackout, and it'll even do 5.56 and 308. And on the 5.56, it can do a surprisingly good job. It's not the best at any one thing, but it's inexpensive, and it comes from is it Yankee Hill or whatever hill, I forget. And they're inexpensive, and I think I might grab one of those just because I can use it on everything and get rid of the Jones, I guess, and then we'll settle in and get us a Wolverine and some other stuff and go from there. But I think we'll do that because I really want to get the Scorpions. It'd be so great, and probably spend a little money on something dedicated to the MP5. I don't know. We'll see. It's a whole other world that I can explore that I haven't. So it should be fun going forward. Polish versus Hungarian quality. So the Polish stuff is no doubt high quality. I don't own any Polish guns, complete Polish finished guns to completely comment on. I have shot them, and I've shot many guns made of Polish parts. Everything, barrels, trunnions, you name it. Most of what Mr. Krebs puts together is made with Polish parts. And so you can't knock them in. And I really want a barrel, but I want it all decked out and done. And as soon as they hit the shelves, they seem to fly out. I just haven't been there to grab one. But I do own a Hungarian pre-bin. And I must say that the fit and finish of that rifle is higher than most and maybe as good as some of the best out there. I have not shot that rifle yet. You guys will get a video on that come spring. But man, beautiful light blonde wood, nice metal finishing, everything done really, really well on that gun. And I assume it's going to shoot marvelously. So can't wait. I guess without shooting, and I'll compare it to, let's say a Fox and a Baril. I've seen a Fox up close, personal, handled it. Really, really nice gun. I'd take it over anything Romanian other than the fact that, like Misha, I like a lot of guns to have some type of military connection in some way, been used in a military situation or war. It's just cool that way, right? And there's a lot of AKs that haven't been, that are just cool. But in a perfect world, it'd be cool if any one of them that I have is somehow connected. A Baril I have never handled in person, but from everything I hear and just looking at it, I just think it's one of the coolest modern day military renditions of an AK out there. I just think it's cool. I like the furniture they're putting on it, everything. I want to say the emotional side of me kind of wants to say that the Hungarian's probably a nicer rifle. But in proof in the pudding kind of thing, I can't really say that yet. So I guess we'll leave that up for debate until I can speak a little more intelligently about it, or firsthand about it. How's that sound? Man, best AK mag, best drum. From a always run standpoint to most durable, throw it all together, right? What makes a good mag? What always runs? What runs in just about anything? And what lasts? what feels sturdy, all of that good stuff. Bulgarian waffle mags. But there's a lot of steel mags out there that I love. I love Yugoslavian bolt-hold open mags. A lot of guys don't like bolt-hold open mags. They don't. They say why? Because the minute I drop that mag, it's slamming shut anyways, right? That's okay. I like the fact that when firing and let's say surrounded by a lot of noise, whether that's gunfire around you, other things going on, if you can't necessarily hear, you feel. And I always know when I'm empty because I feel it stop. And I like that. Don't really care that it goes forward after it locks back. So what? If you had a non-bolt hold open mag, it's going to be shut already, you know? So I don't know. I just kind of like them. And they're heavy duty. Those are really thick-walled mags, especially the older original ones. And some of the old originals have beautiful bluing on them. At one time, that's all I bought. I just liked them. They were heavier, thicker, always worked. Rarely would I have a problem with one. Drums. I don't know. Drums I'm not big on. I do like my Romanian top loaders, especially in an RPK because of the angle. So they're easier to shoot off the bipod. They're easier to change mags with when you're shooting off the bipod. But there's something to be said even for the, how should we say this, Roma Chinese or China Romanian key-wind drum mags. Those are decent because you don't have to wind them and keep that spring wound up, right? You can leave them loaded but not winded. And cool. At the end of the day, probably easier to load than the top loaders. But bigger, bulkier, well, I won't say bulkier, probably lighter, but thinner metal. Definitely bulkier by size, I mean, not necessarily weight. To me, yeah, I get it in an RPK, but I don't know. Why not run 40 round RPK mags, you know? Then screw around with those. I guess if you're an RPK gunner, yeah, it'd be nice to have two of those. Maybe one in the gun, one ready to change, and then 2 pouches full of 40 rounders. That'd be a good way to go. Regular AK, run around with that. Yeah, a lot of weight to run around with a drum under you. Maybe if you knew you were going to need the ammo, maybe you're going to have some heavy contact and you want to run a drum off the bat and then ditch that thing and go back to your other mags, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah. I think quality-wise, though, definitely the Romanian drums are nice, which are essentially Russian top-loader drums. Let's see. Oops, I lost my place here. Hold on. Oh, man. There's a lot of stuff. I better catch up here. Round 1. Zastava was founded in 1853. Well, they're celebrating their 170th, is it? So, Let's see, that'd be 1953. 1853, you said? So 1953, 2003, 2026. No, you're a couple years off, maybe. Unless my math is sucking here. But it is their 170th, I believe, anniversary this year. So what would that be? Let's see. It's late. I worked all day, guys. Sorry. I do numbers all day. My brain hurts already. So if you're saying it's 53 plus 170. Yeah, I get 2023. So yeah. Yeah, you're right. That is correct. Your word is everything or it's nothing. Yeah, so this year would be 171. You're correct. But they put out that anniversary rifle, came out in 23, I guess. So yeah, on the money. Sorry, fanboy of Hugo's just thought, me too, man. Don't worry about it. I love them. I love them. I think the NPAP gets a bad rap, and I can prove it. I got the rounds through it. I'm glad to hear that CNC's gotten caught up. I mean, the last time I bought anything from them was at least 2 years ago, and everybody was struggling then. So, and that's not a knock on them. Best of the best, 8K, price or rarity doesn't count. Please support your spot. Let me go. I want to hit all of these, so let me go back up. Yeah, ALG recoil springs are pretty good. I run them. I've got one in the NPAP. I've got one in that M70 underfolder, the Century one. Do I got them in anything else? That's it. The only reason I went to them was at the time everybody was saying, "Oh, you're gonna crack those receivers," on the NPAP. Well, I had already had I think at that time 7,000 or 8,000 rounds through that NPAP, nothing. And Rob had that receiver crack, and then he did another test, and it was fine. I've never had a problem, but I figured, why not? I love the ALG triggers, and they were interesting. I can't. It's weird because that M70 AB2, the spring was so soft in that thing, and I assumed that was because it was a parts kit gun. And I thought, well, there's somewhere, but man, you got to shoot AK a whole lot to have that spring start to do weird things on you. But part of which that spring made that gun feel so smooth. By far, it's my smoothest AK, and that's simply due to round count. It is glass. And when I put the ALG spring in it, it was so strong that it felt like when that carrier came forward, I kind of got that like a lunge to it almost. Would I go out of my way to spend money on them? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't. I don't see a huge advantage to them. If I'm replacing a worn out spring or something like my NPAP, and to this day, I don't know. I should look at it, but I wasn't concerned with it at the time. But when I bought that NPAP, I don't even know if it was at 1,000 rounds yet. And I'm cleaning the gun one day or doing something, and I noticed the carrier is not staying all the way forward in battery. There's between a quarter and a half inch of movement. You grab the charging handle and it's loose. There's no spring pressure. What the hell? Take the dust cover off, and I'm looking. I'm like, what is going on here? You know, this is strange. What the heck? So I'm looking, and thank God I had another, Euro gun there. I pop the springs out, I take the springs off, and I line them up, and the end cap spring's like that much shorter than the other one. I'm like, huh. Like, well, maybe that's. I go grab another Yugo rifle, I bring it up, I'm like, huh, still shorter. To this day, I don't know why the spring was shorter. It wasn't cut. It wasn't anything. It shouldn't have been worn out. Could the temperer have been not done right and it sacked it out a little bit? Did they just make it shorter accidentally? I had been running the gun and it ran just fine. So I got a feeling either the temper or something wasn't right and enough, it was not very many rounds and the thing sacked out. So that was almost, that's the reason. It wasn't really Rob's gun cracking that forced me to do that. It was just, hey, these things are around. People are talking about them. I need one. Send me a couple. And boom. And it's been in that NPAP ever since. It's fine in the NPAP. I don't feel that lunge. Maybe the gun's got more crap on it, so it's heavier, so I don't feel it. That type of thing. I don't know. But they're okay. I wouldn't go out of my way. No, ALG does not beat up your bolt. Wrong. I have, I can't count how many ALG triggers I have, and I've got them in everything, from Vepers to Yugos, NPAP, OPAP, Mini Draco, arsenals, lots of arsenals. I will say that the rivet if they can hit the rivet in some arsenals, and when this is again going back a few years, when they started doing that, people were complaining, and guys are, well, I'm just filing my my rivet off, or filing an angle in it there. Or some guys would just let it beat it for a while and see what happened, And I'm thinking, why would you go file your gun? Why would you file the back of the trigger, right? Take a little bit off of that. That's replaceable. Another one. Here I've got why do I want to file the rivet on this thing? And of 107 series, SAM series, bunch of different arsenals. I only had one where it was hitting the rivet in the back. And even on that gun, it wasn't very much. And I let it go for a long time. And guys were saying, oh, it cracked my trigger. It piece chunked off or whatever. I believe them. Who knows? Maybe that stuck up a little higher, whatever, on theirs, because of my, at that time, 8 or 9 different arsenals. Only the one was hitting, and it was very minor. And I did end up just taking a hair off of the ALG at that point, and it's running still. I love ALG triggers simply for the reset. And I wish there were still some of the ultimates around. A lot of guys didn't like them, said, oh, they're too light. That's not a battle trigger. How can you run that gun? Fast. That's how you can run it. But that being said, the regular ALGs and then the ultimates, which were just the nickel boron coating, they'll run a little different in every rifle because pin spacing might just be a hair different. Just a hair, just enough to where the reset could be a hair longer, a hair shorter. But all of them, after you run them I haven't polished a single ALG, never. Um, Even the regular ones, the black ones, didn't need it. Just didn't need it. I've had some of those run under 3 pounds stock. Um, and if you guys remember, have ever put one in, there's a video, an ALG trigger video that probably should have been out of here a long time ago, but of putting one in, how to do one. I think I actually was doing it on a Mini Draco, actually. But there's nothing faster. Nothing faster. I love those triggers, and I've never had one mushroom a bolt. And I feel like I say this in every live stream where we talk about AKs. Somehow somebody brings up the mushrooming the back of the carrier. And for the most part, it was much worse in the past because back in the day, all there were Tapco G2s. And they were harder than just about any carrier out there. And when that metal is harder than what it's hitting, it's going to mushroom the softer metal. Eventually, the softer metal is going to work harden up, and stop. Pure and simple. It's never going to mushroom out to stop the gun from running. If it pisses you off, a couple swipes on the side with a file, and it's done. Leave it alone. If you like G2s, run G2s, although you got to polish them and do some shit to them to make them right. But ALG out of the box, bam, done. If it mushrooms it a bit, who cares? Who gives a shit? Stop with the mushrooming crap. And oh, is this wear okay? I don't know. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. I just bought this. It's brand new, and look at it. Holy Christ. It's not an AR. It's an AK. You fix it with a hammer, a rock, a chisel, and a punch. And files, maybe. Once in a while, if you're being nice to it, you want to pet it, use a file. I'm joking. Not really. But ALG, yeah, by far. What did he want me to give the reason to? Yeah, they're good. Nothing wrong with ALG. So nothing wrong with... God, I got to go way back here. I missed a whole bunch. Hold on. Okay, we got that. Hungarian, Vepr Chinese for the purpose. Okay, Vepr Chinese for the purposes of being a break. The AMD 65 Polish better quality Chinese. Nah, why would you say Chinese flatbacks are the best? I'll pay $150 for a Chinese flatback. They're good mags. They're just steel mags in my book. I don't know. Romanian top loader. So you agree with that? Yeah, we said, hey, John, don't know about famous. Well, you know, you're in that good guy famous list. How's that sound? He retracted one message. Don't you have books published? John Crow. Yes, he does. He's got a new book, by the way. Did you? Weren't you talking about a new book, John? Hey, Gort, good to see you here. Fifth Circuit case on young adults with... Yeah, I did hear about that. Sam 5. I guess if you're going to have a 5.56 rifle, it's still the way to go. I still got to get mine out and finish up what I started on it. Bitching about the wearing the carrier in the back of the receiver, and after I shot it a little more, I'm not so sure it's doing what I thought it was doing, although it is amazingly gassed. Holy Christ. That thing, nothing throws an empty piece of brass or steel further than that rifle. Holy cow. It's like gone. Stratosphere. I go to look for it. I'm like, oh, like that famous Indian tribe, the Fakawis. Like, where the fuck out? Where'd it go? Can't find my brass. It's useless anyways. No point recovering your brass after it comes out of that gun. It's destroyed forever. Bent in half. Just picked up that Romanian AIM 74. Cool. They build some nice stuff, don't they? Atlantic has a good crew of guys putting their stuff together. You can get some solid kit build guns out of there. ALG Rico Springs. Okay, we're back. Does ALG beat up your bolt? No. I just ordered 2 ALG Springs on AK files. I have known them to help out old worn out Mac 9. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good replacement. You can always find any old ComBlock spring laying around, but why not? Zastava ruined it for me with read-on. Yeah, I know. Doesn't that suck? It's the only bad thing about it. I especially hate it. I don't know why. It just stands out on my NPAP so much. Maybe because I painted that thing so many times that there's always some kind of paint in there. I got to really scrub the crap out of it to get it out of there. But it's a tool as long as it works, right? Honestly, it can have button head written on it. It's a Zastava. Come on. You'd rather have it without that. Then again, Sentry puts a big ass thing on the side of it. A lot of them do. How long? We already covered the firearms production. If you like Zastava, you came to the right channel. Go look at the videos I got out there, man. A couple cool ones. Tale of the T is kind of cool. Little something not everybody knows. But I'm a fanboy, but I like them all. I mean, I like Arsenal. I like Zastava. I like anything Russian. Chinese are fine too. I just never saw the point. When I got hot and heavy in them, there was, you had so many choices out there that I didn't see the point of spending the money on the Chinese. If a Mac 90 fell in my lap, I had a Mac 90. Came and went. Just the pricing was already up there and kind of crazy, kind of stupid. I had the unicorn of Chinese guns already, so it's kind of like, you got that. The rest is a variation of. So, what else? I have 4 Chinese AKs, and they're all flaws. Mine too. But I keep them that way. But if you're going to use a Chinese gun, use it hard. Some people are just hard on guns. Or they don't value aesthetics maybe or something like that literally don't matter if it's rusty, banged up. I'm just not that guy. I'll always, if I'm out somewhere and I can set it down nicely, I'll set it down nicely. If I'm in a 3-gun competition, I got to chuck it in a barrel. But I'm certainly going to bring one of my nice Chinese rifle or something to a 3-gun competition, it'll be something or whatever. You got the BD3. How do you like it? I didn't see much difference from the BD2, so to go the extra length, I figured why. $275 for 5.56 Norinco and $250 for a Mac 90. Yeah, those were the good old days. They don't like us talking about the good old days. It annoys people. Is the 84S unmolested? Yeah, it probably was more like 20 years ago. I have the regular mini Draco, but the micro was just I said same thing. I agree. I think everybody agrees, unless I just don't see the point. I've been certified for 25 days and counting for the Form 4. I was at a gun show 2 weeks ago, and they had a Norinco Type 56, and they were asking 30. Yeah, it's nuts. But what's funny is everything else around them went up, right? So Vepers went up. Wassers went up. Everything went up, but the Chinese guns stayed the same. They've been pulling that kind of money forever. Don't you think they should have went up? Like if a Veper's now worth $4 or $5 grand, I think the Chinese gun should have bumped up. Like my big light side folder, that should have bumped up to, I don't know, $6, $7 grand, right? I would think if it was already there, But that goes to show you, some guns just they top out, I guess, at some point. Maybe not. I don't know. Arsenal, Zastava, or Galil, which do you prefer? I like them all. I really do. Galils are interesting for their history and their uniqueness. Funny thing is, I am not one of the ones that actually, I don't consider them an AK. I consider them a close first or second cousin. I'm not going to, that's not a hill I'm going to die on, so to speak, but I like Galils. My Gen 2, I like IWI products, man. Everything they make is just nice. But I really wish I had gotten a Gen 1 before my Gen 2, because the sights make that gun, and you can do the polymer delete kit and all that. Then it's a really cool gun. I love Arsenal 107 FRs. Love them. One of my favorite guns out there. But I love all of my Zastava guns. Like I said, something's a lot to be said for your first. That's all. My first Form 4 SBR took 42 days. Started certified in late January. Hungarian barrel is amazing. Plastic mags or metal. If I had to grab one mag and here, you get 10 of these and you got to go fight this, and that's all I can have, I'll take the Bulgarian waffles every time. Every time. I know this, it's not always AK chat, Marcus. It's not. We talk about everything here. As a matter of fact, if you go back and look, it's probably less about AKs than anything else, because there's AKs is one corner of it, and there's so much else. And I'll argue, I'll always talk AK, but there's other things. There's plenty of interesting stuff out there. We don't do the AR guys and AK guys. We don't do that. We like everything. If it goes bang, we like it. We like black powder. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about lever actions. We'll talk about anything. It's all cool. I know this is AK chat, but before the AK, there's the SKI. Which do you fancy, Russian, Chinese, or Yugo? So I have a Russian, I have a Chinese, and I have a Yugo. If I had to keep one of the three, I would keep the Russian. Simply because I like my Russian collection all the way from my Mosins on up. And it's got the prettiest wood I've ever seen. It's Arctic birch with that deep wine burgundy pine pitch shellac. And you guys ever hear my thoughts on Russian shellac finishes? Because everybody thinks, oh, red AK. That's not true. Matter of fact, like the red Zastava finish is bullshit. And we know that, right? But there is a red Russian shellac finish. And it, at least the best argument for how it came about, why it came about, and what causes the finish to be that color. After researching, reading a lot of historic stuff, seeing examples of where it was made, how it was made, what was going on around the areas where it came from, I think I've come up with the best opinion on that. And I think that is the true Russian red color they're talking about. And when you ask people about Russian red, depending who you talk to, it's in these people's mind's eye picture. That red is different to different people. Some think that Bakelite is the red they're thinking of, right? Others somehow have morphed the true Russian red finish into some cherry-ass, candy-ass looking color, when in reality it's that deep burgundy black almost, or hints of, and then again it depends on the wood it's going on too. But yeah, I got a video showing the 3 SKSs, and I show that Russian finish, although looking back at the video, the damn thing was covered in fingerprints because I had been at the range, I think, that day, and it doesn't do it justice. But if you go on it might be on Facebook or Instagram, there's a fabulous picture of that rifle. I'll post it on here later tonight. You'll see it. It's just, man, it's gorgeous. And if anybody ever wants to hear the story, I'm happy to tell it, of what I believe, how it came about, why it came about. And it makes so much sense because it just fits the Russian utilitarian, use everything has a use, don't throw it out kind of mentality. And I think it's spot on. Anyhow, yeah, I like my Russian the best. They're all cool though. I like the Zastava one because I like the ladder sight, the grenade launcher, all that crap. Chinese got the blonde wood, but not that interesting at the end of the day. Everybody wants a mallet. Gotta have a mallet star, man. I get it. I want mallets too. That's the stuff, though, that, yeah, if it's sitting in front of you and you got the extra dough and you go, yeah, why not? Or it falls into your lap one day. And I find that things just, when it's time for it to enter your collection, things once in a while just sort of fall in your lap were meant to be at the right, without paying ridiculous money. I will say it used to be a lot easier than it is today. You young whippersnappers have ruined it for us, God damn it. I used to pay $10 for Bakelites, and I swore I'd never pay it. When they went to $40, I said, screw them. I did, actually. At $40, I said, you're out of your mind. Wish I would have bought them at, cost averaging, right? But at the end of the day, who's going to sell them? You're not going to sell them. Once you got them, I don't know. I guess it depends what kind of guy you are. He said Circle 10 waffle. Yes, I did. Has anyone gotten their hands on the PSA Crink? I have not, but I did see a video on one. It looks pretty cool, actually. I need a PSA in my life that I can just, literally just treat it like, just toss it around, throw it into the bare bed of the truck, bam, bounce it off a steel. Yeah, that's what we need to do. And even that'll hurt me. It really will. I'll be like, oh my God, I can't do that. But then again, I would do that with a, look at this. How did I get a rock in my lighter? What the hell's going on here? Can't even light a damn cigarette around here. This is bullshit. Anyhow, yeah, I would love to. Tula, AKSU or SLR 104UR. Tula, any day of the week. PSA and Riley aren't ready for prime time. PSA is ready for prime time. Absolutely are. I believe they are. I shot 2 EDUs. First of all, the gun was beautiful. Great finish. Finished well everywhere. Even the parts, I was like, wow, look at this thing. The finish was exquisite on it. Furniture was typical stuff, but the actual finish applied to the rifle and its parts was really nice. I mean, and we put 2,000 rounds through it that day. He had a case of 1,000 from somebody. I brought a case and donated it to the party. And he already had, let's see, we did 1,000 the year before. And then I think he put another 1,000 or 1,500 through it during that year in between. And then at his last get together, we put 2,000 rounds to it. So I know there's at least 3,500 through it. It might be more. And the insides of that gun looked like the day it was made. And we put that 2,000 through it fairly quickly. I mean, it was hand the gun to the next guy and put 30 through it, and hand it to the next guy. There was maybe a couple breaks in there, but he filmed the whole thing. I filmed a lot of it. I still haven't put a video out on it, but I'll show you maybe I'll put one together tonight. I want to put another video out since we got our, let me show you what I'm doing. Hold on, because I told you guys we had a bunch of equipment go to shit on us. Had our camera mic go down and had, here's the really shitty thing about it. I was using, I think it's right here somewhere. Yeah. See that? This is either, I think it's a 1 or a 4 terabyte hard drive, right? And guess what's on here? Every full video, every clip, every B-roll, everything that has ever been filmed on this channel over all the years is on here. And it took a dive, and I can't retrieve it. It's locked inside, gone forever. All that work, hours, days, weeks, months of video in there, and I am unable to get any computer to recognize this. It doesn't pop up as a drive. I guess these things are known for it, and I wish I would have known that, because I would have done something else. Yes, I can send it out to recovery. I don't know if they can recover it or what it'll cost. But the reason I did it is I did all my editing and everything on this, not in this computer. I would hook this up and do everything in there, because when you're editing, you're taking full clips and breaking it down, but the whole clip is still in there multiple times maybe, unless you go back and get rid of that stuff. But who's got the time for that? It takes long enough as it is. And I stored everything in there. And yeah, it's gone. I mean, I guess I can download the videos off YouTube, but there's a lot of footage cut out that in some cases is cool. So a lot of it's funny, lots hysterical, a lot of stuff you guys have never seen that I could use in other stuff. But one video in particular that bugs me the most, and I stored it in there because I thought it would be safe. Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you another thing we use here on the channel. For those that don't know, we are in our mobile headquarters here. We're in our motorhome. We're in between houses right now. So this is what I film everything with right here. And I had a Rode mic and that broke. So I got the new latest, well, not the greatest, but an equivalent, little better than the one I had. And that broke. That hard drive went down. Everything was just taking a shit at the same time. So we got the new mic and started shooting videos back again. Anyways, the one video that's on there that bothers me the most is one day I left this camera in my car. And for those of you that don't know, my son passed away almost, 2.5 years ago now. But I left this in my car, and he took my car that day. And he started up the camera, and he turned it around, and he said, like, "Hey, Dad, driving your car." But he's playing the big shot, I guess. And he says, "You left your camera in the car, just so you know. Just so you know, I love you." And I had that video on there, and it's gone. And that upsets me a little bit because I only have a few videos of him. And a lot of it was, oh shit, now that I think about it. A lot of it, he was, helping out with videos on the channel and stuff. So there's one of him shooting a VR80 that's hilarious. He rapid fires the thing, and he goes, "Woo!" That's hilarious. I got it on the channel somewhere. But he'd help out behind the scenes. He did a test with me with the Ruger 5.7, a few other things, bunch of stuff. And that's all on there. And now I don't have it. So I hope I can find somebody reliable that can recover it and kind of handle it with kit gloves. It's not just like an important business thing or something, but it's something that really means something, So I got to find somebody that somebody knows that I can give it to and say, "Hey, here's what's on here. Please, please handle this the best you know how and do your best to recover it." And isn't just going to toss it around like it's one of another 100 he's got to do, kind of thing. So anyhow, this is what's really cool. Hold on. So what I should have done had I known better, but I'm not that technologically savvy, is went to one of these. It's an SSD, so no moving parts, no nothing. And it's 1 terabyte right there. And it's $85, cheaper than that thing. And it can't break, really. So yeah, this is cool. And I'm not only putting the stuff on YouTube, but anything on here is now on here and then backed up to another one. And yeah, it's nowhere near as fragile. And I always treated that thing well. But anyways, bottom line is all our equipment's back up and running. And the reason I do it on the other hard drive is you can take even a nice computer like this, which is an Apple, and you can clog it up so fast with video that the thing will be crawling in a month, barely be moving. So you gotta put it on something else. And it's also a safety thing. You can, you got it, or so I thought. But, it's the old saying with, being prepared is 1 is none and 2 is 1, right? So, yeah, I broke my rule, and that's what I get, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, back to guns. Tula, AKSU or SLR 104, UR. Oh, man. So I've told guys the story about why I never got into 5.45. And that's kind of a stupid reason, but I just didn't want to reset for a whole nother caliber. Meaning, God, stockpiling mags, stockpiling ammo, all of that. I wish I had done it to some extent, because I don't think there's, at the end of the day, I don't think there's a better caliber in the AK than 5.45, especially if you got a lot of 7 and 6 put away. Who doesn't? Not that 7.62 by 39 is some beast of a caliber, but man, so much flatter shooting. You get more range out of it, less recoil, quicker follow-ups, everything. And not to say that like 7.62 guns can't be made to handle, got plenty of examples of that. But yeah, I wish I would have got into it more and put more away, added them to the collection, etc. And I just didn't. And I love SLR series guns. I just do. I like them a lot. But a Tula is a Tula is a Tula. And like I said, when it comes to Russian guns, especially, like a 21 or a 31, something like that. I do think there's something to be said for how Russian-built guns run compared to others. I definitely feel it in my Vepers. I just do. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's in my head, but I don't know. How do you feel about Palmetto State Armory KS-47? I don't know. I don't have an opinion either way. I don't know. I don't have any experience with it, so I don't want to comment. But if it's, like I said, the rifle we shot, and I can't remember what gen and everything his was, and what barrel. But I think the PSA guns with the FM barrels, hard to beat, man. I mean, they're running. They're holding up. There's nothing wrong with those guns. If you want a gun that just run, not worry about it, don't want to take what is maybe now today a very expensive AK, and don't want to beat the shit out of it, why not run that gun? Although there's an argument to be said where maybe, Polish guns, that kind of thing, but there's still the price. I mean, that price is way down there compared to anything, really. I mean, even a Wasser, for that matter. Mark my words, one day Wassers will be bringing big money. Yeah, no problem. I mean, it is what it is, I miss him every day. But he's also every great memory I have. So it is what it is. You don't get over it, you just get used to it. Okay, no, you don't even get used to it. I don't know. Anyhow, nobody talks about KUSA guns. It's so funny. They come out with something and then they just stall. And then they come out with something and then they stall. And it's like, I don't know. And then there's, things you hear about customer service and this and that. I don't know. At one point, I truly believed that KUSA was definitely related to Kalashnikov concern. Just hidden through multiple companies or what have you. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it is expensive for an American-made gun. And if that's what you're looking for, then why not the Palmetto? However, when you do look at some of their stuff, like their 9, it doesn't get closer reproduction-wise to the real deal. It really doesn't. I have imports and all, but I really enjoy the KUSA 103. It's been nothing. Good. That's good to hear. It's really good to hear. And I'm glad you're enjoying it, because that's a gun that actually interests me a lot. Um, why haven't I done it? I don't know, because there's still so many imports to be had, you know. Who mentioned the Hungarian? Where is it? Hold on. Let me find it. Somewhere. It's only because I'm having an old man brain fart right now that I can't remember the frick. Oh, God. It's hell to get old, guys. So I ran across, somebody said they were at a gun show 2 weeks ago. It's more like 3 or 4 weeks now. But, well, of course, now down in Illinois, there are gun shows. I couldn't even imagine. Why would you have one? Christ, you can't have anything over a 10-round mag, and you can't have anything other than a bolt gun, basically. I mean, it's ridiculous right now. And the funny thing is, everybody still got them. They're just, nobody wants to bring them out. Nobody can go to the range. I called a buddy the other day. I said, hey, come on, let's go shooting. He says, I can't. I said, what do you mean you can't? He goes, the thing. I'm like, oh, yeah. Shit. You know, what are you going to take to the range? Your revolver or your, you know, it's crazy. I said, well, nothing's stopping you from shooting up here. He's like, yeah, but I got to get it there. Oh, God. What a joke, huh? Can't even shoot with my buddies. They're afraid to get in the car with one, even encased in the trunk. What if I get pulled over? Yeah, that's everybody. Think about it. With that low registration amount down in Illinois, what was it? Less than 1% or something registered their stuff. That 1% of morons. Everybody still got it. Did nothing. It's a joke. And until somebody, it's unfortunately, I guess they know they're going to lose. They know it'll never hold, but they know it'll just drag out, take up time, and that's all they're doing. Because look, anybody like me or you that, if you live in Illinois, is going to do the same thing right now. I think people need to have the balls to act like it doesn't exist. Head out to your range and fire away with 100-round drums. Go to town. And I know it's easy to say when I don't live there, but at the end of the day, I think the best way to prove all this shit out is to have someone get arrested for it, get charged with it, and let's go, baby. Time to go to court. You know, if it's the right case and the right human being, it won't cost you anything to fight it. And I doubt anybody would sit in prison or sit in jail waiting for the trial while it goes on. I doubt that. I don't know. If Crump's in here, I wonder what he thinks. I mean, that's what it takes, right? Otherwise, you know, they could claim it's unconstitutional, but they can go back and say, well, there was no harm. Nobody's been harmed by it, so you can't sue over it or whatever in some cases. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, guys. I don't understand how all that works, but it always seems to me that, you know, if someone's been harmed by the law, an unconstitutional law, that's always the better way to fight it. But it's hard to say, yeah, me, pick me. I'll be the guy. No, nobody wants to do that. I get it. Maybe if you had somebody that's like a gun nut, Second Amendment advocate, he's dying of cancer. I don't know, right? Something like that. I don't know. But interesting, very interesting. I was going to bring something up, and we got on another subject. I was talking about the range. So, yeah, we're going to have some distance to shoot here. And I thought, man, I need to invest in some optics, some better optics that I can see that kind of distance at. So it's going to be so much fun. And got all the steel out. So we're going to start setting that up as soon as it dries out. I mean, it's ridiculous, the amount of water we have. The rivers are over. I can only imagine when this snow melts. It's almost over the main road here. It's going to be bad. There's going to be a lot of farmhouses in the area here that are going to be have water right up to them, if not in them. I mean, it's crazy. Never seen. Well, I have seen it before, but it's. I literally have an 80-foot long lake that's probably pushing 2 feet deep that I got to go through down my driveway every day. And it takes a while to go away. But, we started talking about getting things done here so we can get out of here, get our shop put back together, and start doing all kinds of cool videos and stuff. And we're moving ahead slowly but surely. We got a roof. We got windows. The rough-in plumbing went in today. Probably got a week of plumbing left, and then the HVAC guys are coming. Electrician to follow, and it's moving. It's moving. I'm hoping June, but my bet is 4th of July, so we might have a heck of a 4th of July. It'll be great. And then there's more work to do, right? And there's landscaping and all the other crap moving in, building ranges and building chicken coops and pole barns and shooting benches and all that good stuff. And it all takes time, but you'll see it all come together. And the reason I'm going to do videos on it is because I think for guys like us that are in here, appreciate that kind of living for just what I'm talking about. I know a ton of guys and gals, for that matter, in Illinois that would love nothing more to move out and get out of the state. But how do I do it? How do I? It's so complicated. I got to sell. I got to buy. Or I got to build. And how do you do it? It sounds like such a hassle, especially in a time like this where there's a lot of tumult. But the only way it happens is if you just say enough's enough, and it'll work out. I just had enough. I said I'm divesting myself of every interest I have in that state, which wasn't much anymore. But yeah, I was just done. Enough was enough. There was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I can't live like that. And you don't have to have crazy money or anything to do it. You'll figure it out. You don't have to build. Maybe just find a house. You can find everything from cheap to expensive. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. Taking the time, spend your weekends, your days off, doing the search. Take a risk, throw it on the market, and do it. I can see if you're tied down with my family, even that can be done. I'm doing that now. I've got a mom that's aging and is going to need to, at some point, move in with us, and making sure that's handled. So it can be done. You just have to make that decision. So hopefully when I show you some stuff, you find out that it can be done. It's, I won't say easier than you think, but it's not insurmountable. And that you just got to trust that it'll work out. You got this far, right? You'll get the rest of the way. Nothing's gonna change your life for the worse. there may be a price to pay a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think it far outweighs sort of those holds, and even the stress, and maybe even anxiety or whatever that some of that stuff caused. Maybe you like living in the city. Maybe you like, you don't care where you like your own town, whatever. Maybe you can deal with it. But a lot of people can't, and I feel that for their overall health or mental health, that when they felt that weight lift off their shoulders, they'd be much better for it. Trust me, right now, what we're doing, living in the RV and all that, is very, very stressful. And we're RV people. It just, after a while, I lived in our RV basically full time for, I don't know, 3-4 months maybe, but never this long. And it grates on you because there's a lot of work involved in it, because we don't have a well yet on the property, so I'm hauling water in. We don't have septic yet, so I'm hauling waste out. We're lucky enough to have electricity, but wind, cold, hauling propane, all that stuff, it's work. But it was worth it to me to do it, and not have to worry about looking over my shoulder all the time, worrying about what the government's going to do in that state to screw me even worse, or whatever. And at the end of the day, the closer we get to an end point, the better I feel. And even the most comfortable RVs get uncomfortable after a while. I just wish I had my nice sofa to lay down and watch TV. Not that I don't, but this sofa kind of sucks. But anyhow, and I get nowhere to play with my hobbies. I would give anything right now to sit down and load up 500 rounds of whatever on my reloaders. That's my stress reducer. Go out to the shop and just load some rounds. It's fun. And it's winter, so you're stuck inside in a small place and all that stuff. And there's money stresses and building stresses and problems that come up with the build and this and that. And at the end of the day I move in and out of this thing is going to be like, and I can't wait. But I just hope you guys know that if that's what you want, something like that, it can be done. And I'll try and provide some videos that give people some guidance, what to look for, what to avoid. Even though we did it once before, this is a bigger undertaking, and I'm still learning stuff. Stuff that I thought I'd have down with this one, I still don't have down. You run into a twist in it somewhere. But at the end of the day, it's going to be awesome. And you guys will be along for the ride. So I'm going to put together a couple videos tonight. And as soon as I think the weekend is supposed to warm up a bit, and we're back to spring, hopefully. And we can do a couple shooting videos. I contacted Zastava about getting me a scope mount for the underfolder. And I don't know what the hell I did, but my email bounced back. The guy that handles media over there, I know him. I've talked to him before, did the Zastava range shoot day and all that. And I went to email him, and I must have the email wrong. So either I'm remembering it wrong or something. So I'm going to have to figure that out here. Hopefully they send us one to test out. If not, I guess I'll just buy one. But we'll see. So hopefully we have that coming pretty soon. We're going to do a little more long distance shooting with it. if you watch the video, they supposedly sight these guns in at 25 yards. It was dead on elevation-wise. It was shooting off to the left a little bit, and the sight post was pushed to the right. So when I adjust it and shoot in center, it should be right on. That'll make me happy. I can swear, looking down this gun, that front sight is canted a little to the left. But I don't know. You know, they play tricks on your eyes sometimes. But yeah, the gun runs really well. It's undergassed compared to all my other Zestados. It's not. I shouldn't say it's undergassed. It's gassed just fine. It's just not overgassed, I guess, like the rest of them are to some extent. They're never bad, but all AKs are overgassed for the most part. And I get one or two that seem to hit the ground right at my feet, and I don't know if that's a first round thing, or last round thing rather, or what. So I got to pay a little more attention to that when we're doing some shooting. And yeah, it's a great gun, man. I love it. I can't wait to use an underfolder finally with an optic. So that'll be fun. We're going to get the Hungarian out. And I've got a ton of 7.62 by 39 reloads of all different bullets, loadings, etc. that we're going to test out. That frankly I had loaded up to do a video and forgotten about. It was part of the by 39 project. So we're going to run through those, see what they do, and have a little fun. I got a lot of hunting rounds loaded up. Everything but Full Metal Jacket, put it that way. So that's going to be interesting too. And we're going to do some tests. Maybe I'll mix up some gel or do the ever popular meat test, like what's his name? Such a shame, him having cancer and everything. I feel so bad. Grantham put out a video talking to him. And he's a neat guy. And don't forget about Brandon Herrera running for office. I can't wait. I'm hoping he wins. I would love to somehow just even get a phone call on tape with him, telling him how much we support him and everything. I don't know. He probably wouldn't reach out to a little old channel like ours, but who knows? Anyhow, if you don't know about it, check it out and help him out if you can. Brandon Herrera for Congress.com. And yeah, he can do it. He can win this thing. It's awesome. Anyhow, guys, that's all I got for tonight. It was great fun to get in there and talk about AKs for once. I started talking about that MD65. Saw at that gun show a couple weeks ago. It was nice. It had the blue furniture too, but didn't have the dinero at the time. So yeah, it was kind of one of those guns that was one of my last on the list. So we'll see, one day maybe. But yeah. All right. It was fun to talk about AKs, and it was fun to go through that grilling there. I felt like was that right? Right answer? Did I pass the test? At the end of the day, it's all opinion, but most opinion should be based in some type of experience and or reasoning, and should be correct. And I think by the responses here, I must have passed the test. I don't know. I know a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm joking about that. I don't ever consider myself a subject matter expert. I don't consider myself to be the be-all, end-all, or that I know everything. I still learn things every day. You guys, there's a lot of stuff you throw at me on different models, this and that I may know or think of as something else, or I read a little bit about them, but it didn't interest me, so I blew past it. and that you guys inform me about, tell me about every time. I hope you get your site back together. I'll see if I can put something up about it. Let me go watch the other one and see what I showed there. If I can add anything to it, I'll throw up a short video on it to help you out. But yeah, have fun. All I can tell you is there's a ton of stuff out there, and that pool of cool stuff gets smaller all the time. So when you find a deal on it, or you got the extra dough, and you're thinking, oh, should I grab it? You may never see that pass your way again. And those are those opportunities you got to seize. You can always sell it, and usually for more money, if like mags or whatever. But uh, you may never get the chance to own it again. So why not? Can't hurt. If you find out you don't like it or something, dump it. No big deal. There's always somebody willing to buy it. Anyhow, yeah, check out John Crump's channel. He stopped in here to say hi. He's got an awesome channel. Lots of fun. Lots of good live streams he does over there with the guys. All kinds of good stuff. And he's got a book out. Very interesting guy. And he does so much for the community. Truly, truly does. Through his connections and people he knows, he gets a lot of stuff out there first, and stuff that matters to you and I on the Second Amendment front. So make sure you check him out. Try and support Brandon if you can, and have fun, guys. You're living in a great time right now where there's just so much cool stuff out there. And one day, you'll be the guy telling the stories. Back in the day, back in 1962, I was buying the Palmetto State Armory rifles for $600. You know, as we go, really? Holy shit. Well, maybe not Palmetto, but maybe. Yeah, maybe. Every dog has his day. Just remember that. Including Wassers. One day, guys, Wassers are going to go through the roof. Invest heavily in the almighty Wasser. I'd buy him 10 at a crack. I'm telling you. New in the box. I laugh, but one day it will. That's what they said about Chinese. Chinese was junk. Junk. Nobody thought anything but junk back then. At least now people like Wassers. You'll have a following. Be able to fill a niche. All their grandkids will want one. Yep. And Rob Ski will be like 89 going, you might do us. Oh, God. Anyhow, I had fun tonight. It was fun answering the questions. Let you know my thoughts on some stuff out there. If you ever have questions, please throw them in there. Throw them up on a video. I try to get in and answer them. Yeah, we're back in gear equipment-wise. Lots of videos to come. And I appreciate each and every one of you. If you can, throw a super chat down there. We'd appreciate it. It's what supports the channel. You guys have a good one. God bless you. God bless the USA. And we will see you next week or next video. Thanks again for showing up. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. Nighty night.